We are just coming down the little hill, and that means we are entering Wild Turkey Valley. We're at the south end of Wild Turkey Valley. We're going to keep going north about a half a mile, and we'll see the property on the left. And this is a really cool one. This is this larger tract we bought, which is Wild Turkey Valley. I guess at some point was an old homestead. And there were two areas on the property where we found evidence of an old homestead. One was on the south end, and we passed that, and the other one was on the north end. And it was pretty easy to spot as a homestead because there was an old mailbox there. So that was definitely a sign that something had been going on there. And so we explored it a little bit. All I've done was pull in one time and take a look at it. And this will be my second look today. It was clear that there had been life there decades ago. And it was also clear that someone had taken the liberty of dumping some trash there in years gone by, which used to be fairly common in these rural areas. If there was a trail or an old home site and everyone knew no one lived there, it was a good place for kids to maybe go dump their trash without having to go to the dump. The really nice thing, the cool thing I think, is within about the last 3 or 4 years, they started making the game cams, the game cameras that have the built-in satellite feature, and for a small subscription service, they'll automatically beam your game cam pictures right to a satellite. You don't need a power source, so you can put them anywhere. They just run on batteries. And what that did was, within a year or two's time, a lot of this funky activity in the rural areas just stopped, because now it's a known fact that people can go spend $100, $200, and have a game camera that's automatically taking anyone's picture and immediately beaming it to the cell phone of the owner or the computer of the owner. And so it really quickly put a halt to people coming in and dumping illegally and any shenanigans like that, because their picture's being taken, and before they even know it, their picture has been uploaded to someone's cell phone or someone's computer. While I was rambling, I was kind of walking the road frontage here. This has a lot of good road frontage. It's level off the road. We see nice timber all over the place. I'll pull in this driveway. We'll kind of take a look here. I had to turn my fan on. It's just a little warm this morning. Now this area right here, I guess you'd call it a wet weather creek. If there's a lot of rain, there could be water through there. Look at that walnut tree. Wow. It almost looks dead, but they're the last thing to get their leaves. And it is fairly early in the spring. I can see leaves coming out, but that is a big walnut right there. Those are worth some money. Here we've got these cedar trees that have grown in on the trail. This should be cleaned up. Now here's one of the huge bonuses to this property. We have a power line directly on the property. So you can hook into that. Look at all those walnut trees. Those are smaller walnut trees, but we've actually got a little walnut grove here, which is pretty cool. Looking north on the power line, and the one time I was here, I drove this trail about another 100 feet and I stopped, but I did notice there was some old coop here, and as I walked over toward this barrel that I noticed, it became apparent that it was some type of old well or cistern. It's some type of old solid cistern. Let's see if we can look down in it. There's some trash that someone's thrown down over the years. Not a ton of it, but there's water down there. Let's see if I can find a little rock here. All right, here we go. I hit a jug. Let's try again. See if we can hear the water. Actually, the water's not that deep. It's not that far down, I mean. I have no idea how deep it is. So that's interesting. So obviously there was life out here. This looks pretty darn old. Early 1900s maybe. I'm no expert. It was probably in use later than that as well, but generally when the old homesteaders would dig these hand-dug wells, they would wait until they had found a pretty good spring, and then they would try to tap into that. And someone's put a lot of time and effort into this big cistern. So that's interesting. That's some type of old chicken coop or something there. I just stepped on this old box. I don't know what that is. All kinds of buried treasure out here. So the water source, I have no idea if you could really use that water source, but like I said, there was water in there, so if nothing else, it could be useful for animals or for water for the garden or whatever. I can't believe all the walnut trees. I almost think that those have to have been planted at some point. Let's drive up this trail, and I'll show you what I meant by some trash had been dumped. But the other thing I did notice about this trail right away is that, I mean, we're only 100 feet or so off the county road, and it is very private. I see more walnut trees. I see a ton of cedar trees, oak trees, obviously. You'll probably want to trim back these cedars if you value your paint job, which I clearly do not on this truck. It's been through a lot worse than this. Okay, here's a good place to park right here. I mean, this is just a beautiful, beautiful setting. So it's a shame that years ago someone dumped trash out here, but I mean, that can happen. There's a pretty good look at an old trash pile. Bottles, cans. It's pretty ugly. I mean, we've dealt with much worse trash piles, but we've dealt with little trash piles like this many times. Hey, what's that? Well, the bonuses just keep on coming. That's a little pond. It's not holding water right now, but oftentimes those can be brought back to life pretty easily. Hey, there's another trash pile up there. All right. But anyway, what I was saying about the trash piles is my whole outlook on those changed years ago when our company got its first skid loader. And then we got a grapple bucket for the skid loader. And what would have taken a couple guys 1 or 2 days by hand with the pair of gloves took literally an hour and a half with a good skid loader to clean it up. I mean, you just go in, cut a few of the smaller trees so you can access the old pile of debris, and you can either get a roll-off dumpster or a little dump truck, but honestly, the favorite for most people is to use that skid loader, find a secluded spot, and dig just a shallow hole. Get that stuff in there. I mean, we're not talking about uranium deposits that people have dumped. It's just old cans and junk like that usually. Dig a little hole, put the stuff in, cover the hole back up, run it over with the skid loader a few times, and you're done. So once we discovered that you could do that, and then if you don't have a skid loader, have no fear, you can rent them. Pretty much all the small or mid-sized rental places now have a couple skid steers that they rent. So you rent one for the day, you have some fun. They're easy to run. They're actually really fun to run. We're in a pine grove here. This is really cool. We've got pine and we've got cedar trees. Look at that cedar. I'm looking right into the sun. It looks terrible in the photo, I'm sure, but it's a beautiful big cedar with this offshoot limb. You don't see that much. That's cool. These tall, straight pines are gorgeous. You could build right here. I mean, this is ready-made. This looks like it was either an old RV site or maybe part of an old trail. I apologize for spinning the camera wildly, but I just keep seeing more cool stuff. Wow, I haven't been on this section before. More pine trees. I mean, this is just, if you've been looking for a place to really get away from it all, this is fantastic. I mean, we're just a few hundred yards from the Mark Twain National Forest. So if you want tens of thousands of acres of public land to hunt and play upon, this is it. I mean, you're, like I said, just a few hundred yards from the Mark Twain. We've got county road frontage. We've got an actual power line on the property. We've got an old license plate from 1979. Trees are growing over the trail, but the trail goes back here. I might just walk this for a little bit and see where we end up. Here's that other trash pile on the side of the pond. Mostly aluminum cans. Some plastic bottles. I mean, a lot of times what we'll do on a property like this is we'll spend a day and we'll bring the skid loader in and we'll come clean it up. Here's an old pile of tires. You can haul the tires to a tire place and they'll take them. I think maybe they charge $1 a piece the last time we did it. But one of our favorite things to do with tires is just pile them somewhere and leave them. Let them sit. They're not hurting anybody. Out of sight, where you don't have to think about them. This trail keeps going. We've got a tree that's fallen down. Oh man, this is nice. There's another small offshoot in a clearing. I mean, we just don't get properties like this that much. This has not been recently logged, as you can see. Like any property in the Ozarks, it has been logged at some point. But the stumps I see are probably older than me. We just have no end to the cool stuff on this property. And it's just gradually rising up. It's not steep at all. Wow, it just keeps going. This is great. So if you wanted super seclusion, you could come on back here. This is definitely one of the largest properties at Wild Turkey Valley. We're very close to the National Forest. We've got mature timber everywhere. Just gorgeous. As everybody knows who follows our videos, once the property's been paid for in full, you can cut the timber, you can sell the timber, you can leave the timber as it is. But while you're making the payments, the mature timber can't be cut or sold. I think it's 8 inches at ground level. Anything larger than that can't be cut or sold or removed until the property's been paid for in full. But at that point, you're welcome to sell it off. We have a lot of people who plan to make their payments, and when the property's paid off, their nice timber will have grown into extremely nice timber, and there's a check where they can send the kids to school or, have a lot of fun and still have gotten to use the property in the meantime and still have the property afterwards. Well, I could keep going, but I could be out here all day. This is great. This would be a really fun one if you want to bring a four-wheeler and check it out. Dozens of places where you could build or set up your camp. If you did any kind of food plot or any kind of feeding for the deer or wildlife, I mean, you're going to draw a tremendous amount because that Mark Twain National Forest is just packed with wildlife, so you'll draw them in off that. Really good opportunity. Existing driveway, power line, county road frontage, super private, not recently logged. Good luck finding that with other properties in the Ozarks, especially if the owner's willing to finance it. It's usually been logged within the last couple years. That's just how that works. But not in this case. This property looks great. You're going to get it at a discount because we haven't dealt with that trash. If we decide to deal with that trash, we'll take a brand new video and we'll have to raise the price accordingly. But if you don't mind dealing with the trash, then you can save quite a few thousands of dollars because we are pricing this as low as we can, and we're reflecting the fact that it does have that old trash on it. I'll come up here and then I'll shut this down, but we only saw a small portion of this property. This is a really big one. Like I said, one of the biggest tracts at Wild Turkey Valley. There's just so much I want to see. I want to keep going. Great feeling of seclusion out here. But we're still only about 5 miles from Birch Tree, which is a handy little town with a gas station and a Dollar General and some of those amenities. And from Birch Tree, you're only about 10 or 15 miles from Mountain View, which has I believe it's a super Walmart, some type of Walmart, and lumber yard and different stores and restaurants, and kind of a regional town for the area. Really, really nice property. That is the tract with the existing I lost my train of thought. I was looking at a really big oak tree back there, and I got excited. What was I saying? The tract with the existing driveway at Wild Turkey Valley. Very close to Mark Twain National Forest. Nice property.